While the live-action Mulan contains plenty for both kids and adults to enjoy, some elements of the film will only be noticed by adults. From symbolic imagery to systemic societal issues, here are some of the things only adults notice in Mulan. As Mulan prepares to meet with the village matchmaker, her mother helps her get dressed and paints her face. During this getting ready sequence, we see a number of laces and ribbons being tied tight as Mulan grimaces, showing clearly how constricting she finds not only the clothing, but the entire affair. When she emerges, she comments to her sister that the getup completely prevents her from expressing herself.
This is my sad face. This is my curious face. And now I'm confused.
This isn't the only time that binding imagery is used to convey Mulan having to suppress who she really is. Most notably, she has to bind her chest in order to pass as a male soldier. Later, the removal of those bindings helps symbolize the death of her male alter ego, Hua Zhou, and the emergence of Hua Mulan as her true self. Once she embraces her identity, she undoes the bindings of her armor and hair ties. Kids will pick up on the idea that Mulan is shedding a false sense of who she was supposed to be, but adults are more likely to notice that binding has been a recurring theme since the very beginning of the movie, symbolizing not just Mulan's internal struggle, but the external pressures of what society determines women should be. Mulan also makes frequent use of shadows, reflections, and other ways of showing characters indirectly to illustrate how they struggle with identity. Many of these devices factor prominently into how Shen Yung is portrayed in showing Mulan's journey to becoming a self-actualized warrior. For Shen Yung, whose life has taught her that her choices are either hide who she is or be shunned by society, we frequently see her through smoke and shadows. Meanwhile, Mulan is often shown in reflections, which highlights the incongruity between the person she feels she is on the inside and the image she has to project on the outside. For much of the film, when Mulan looks at herself, her reflection wars with her own perception of who she is. The choice to frequently portray the film's two most powerful female characters through indirect means helps convey their internal struggles with self-image and their fears of showing the world who they truly are. Kids probably won't think to question Mulan's unswerving devotion to the emperor and his dynasty, but adult viewers may wonder if Mulan's cause is quite as just as she believes. After Mulan is banished from her regiment, Shen Yung tries to explain to her that the society in which they live has no room for powerful women like them. Together, she hopes she and Mulan may be able to create a new society that won't reject them. However, Mulan doesn't even seem to consider what Shen Yung is saying, and she rushes off to save the emperor from Bori Khan's attack. As a matter of fact, Mulan never once seems to interrogate the idea of what unquestioning fealty to the current system means for people like her, even though she previously felt stifled by that very system. The emperor seems like a nice enough guy, but it wouldn't be unreasonable to wonder whether we should really be rooting for Mulan to safeguard his dynasty. Granted, the 1998 film also never questions the governmental structure Mulan vows to uphold, but in 2020, it seems like a little healthy introspection may have been both warranted and welcome. As it stands, it seems a little alarming that Mulan fights so hard to maintain a status quo that grants tremendous power to men of a certain bloodline, while keeping women as a subservient class. While Mulan makes friends with all her fellow soldiers, adults won't be able to miss that the looks Hong Wei is giving Hua Zhou contain far more than brotherly affection. Fans who interpreted Li Sheng as bisexual in the 1998 film will likely pick up on the same energy in Hong Wei. Although it's possible Hong Wei suspected that Mulan was female all along, the simpler explanation is that Hong Wei was simply attracted to Hua Zhou. His demeanor toward Mulan remains much the same after her true identity is revealed, implying that his attraction was never tied to her gender. It remained constant whether she was Hua Zhou or Hua Mulan. Mulan contains a number of impressive battle sequences, but none of the foes Mulan faces loom nearly as large as the sexism she encounters in every facet of life. Whether she's trying to bring honor to her family through an arranged marriage or bring honor to her country through her skilled fighting as a soldier, she's constantly butting up against the societal constraints placed upon women. She's told that her powerful chi is a liability for a woman, although it would be an asset for a man. And during training, women are forbidden from entering the soldiers' camp.
Bring women into camp, or consorting with women in any way. Penalty: death.
What's more, this same sexist oppression is what drove Shen Yung to side with Bori Khan in the first place. She tells Mulan that she tried to find a noble path forward, but it didn't exist within an acceptable society. The only options available to her were to either ally herself with an enemy of the kingdom or deny her own power.
The more power I showed, the more I was crushed. Just like you.
Considering that Shangyang is instrumental in gaining Borikhan most of his tactical advantages during the film, it's hard to ignore that if society hadn't been so intent on oppressing women, the emperor may not have needed saving in the first place. Throughout the film, Mulan is constantly trying to embody the 3 pillars of virtue.
Loyal, brave, and true.
Early on, she strives to live out these virtues and make her family proud through restraining her impulses in order to present herself well and make a good and respectable match. Later, she experiences a crisis of conscience when she realizes she can't possibly be true while also deceiving everyone around her. Ultimately, she comes into her own when she rejects both the societal expectations of women and the pretense of being a man, and embraces her own unique skills and identity. It's interesting that for the majority of the film, it seems as though everyone in Mulan's life, including Mulan herself, assumes that being true means to accept her place and to stop bucking traditions and questioning cultural norms.
You are the daughter. Learn your place.
If Mulan had remained a demure and subservient daughter, everyone would have thought that she was being true to the role that had been given to her. But by the end of the film, we're shown that what's actually true for Mulan is a path that didn't exist before she carved it out for herself. While kids will likely embrace the film's themes of self-acceptance on a surface level, adults are more equipped to unpack the complex idea that our understanding of who we are and how to live truthfully can evolve over time. In all the promotional material for Mulan, it seemed as though Shangyang was going to be the main antagonist of the film, but by the end of the film, Shangyang has seen an alternate version of herself in Mulan, and she ultimately sacrifices herself to save the younger woman. Kids won't miss Shangyang's sacrifice, but what they might fail to see is that Shangyang was never really a villain at all. Shangyang tells Mulan that she joined forces with Borikhan because he was the only one who provided a place for her and allowed her to be who she was. But as we see before their encounter, she's really more of a prisoner than a lieutenant.
Now I know I serve you. I am the slave.
And you would do well to remember it.
While she does Borikhan's bidding for much of the film, her true motivation is to create a society in which she can be accepted without having to diminish herself. In Mulan, she sees the possibility of that society, and she gives her life to help it come into being. Rather than an antagonist working against the hero, Shangyang proves herself to be a tragic figure who is ultimately working toward the same goals as Mulan. By the end of the film, Mulan has returned home to her village, seeking to beg her family's forgiveness for how she left and restore their honor. But when she's reunited with her family, they're not angry with her for leaving, but rather relieved that she finally came back home. Her father then tells her that he recognizes that she's a warrior and that he should have seen that all along. Considering we've just seen Mulan defeat Borikhan single-handedly and get recognized by the emperor, this exchange makes complete sense. But what young viewers may not have quite pieced together is that Hua Zhou wouldn't actually know about her accomplishments in battle yet. As children, it's easy to assume that the characters know whatever we know, but as adults, the flow of information becomes a lot clearer. When her father says he sees that Mulan is a warrior, he didn't come to that revelation because he'd heard of her great feats in battle. Instead, it's because he finally admitted the truth he'd always known about his daughter. It turns out that none of Mulan's accomplishments were necessary for her father to finally see her. He'd known who she was from the beginning. By the end of Mulan, it seems like women's rights have taken a big step forward, with Mulan being invited to serve as an officer in the Emperor's Guard. But while Mulan herself has come a long way, not much has been done for any of the other women living alongside her. She returns home to find her sister excited about her upcoming arranged marriage, with the other women in her village still in exactly the same circumstances as when she left. Granted, none of the other women in Mulan have given any indication that they want anything else for their lives, but that could simply be because they never considered that other options might be open to them. Shangyang, the only other woman who wanted something more than what society was prepared to offer, is dead by the film's end. Kids may be satisfied that Mulan herself is able to finally lead the life that she wants, but adults may wonder how much has really changed. Mulan accepting her commission as an officer in the Emperor's Guard is presented as a happy ending, but Mulan likely has an extremely hard road ahead of her. Remember, the army that she's going to join is the same one that, earlier in the film, reminded its soldiers that the presence of a woman in the camp was punishable by death. Although the men who fought beside Mulan against Bori Khan are ready and willing to accept her as a warrior, there are plenty of other men in the Emperor's Guard who don't know her personally. They aren't all going to be thrilled at the idea of admitting a woman to their ranks, much less as a leader. Not all men will find it easy to let go of the way things have always been done in the past, and it's probable that at least some of Mulan's fellow soldiers could decide to make her life particularly difficult in order to prove that women have no place among them. Mulan was able to earn the respect of her peers once before, but that was only after she'd previously earned it as a man. Her new career as the only female officer in the Emperor's Guard will no doubt be a tremendously challenging one, but we are sure she's up to the task. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite movies and TV shows are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.